take this with a pinch of salt and look for the similarities rather than the differences, if I can put it that way. No matter how strong you are, you cannot do it alone. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another episode on From the Archive. It's been a beautiful week. Please let me know how your week's been. Like I said, I'm trying to build community through this, so it'd be cool if you guys interacted. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think, because this is a very sit-down and reflection video, as they all have been. Unfortunately, we're indoors today. It's a little bit cold and rainy today, so we're taking it indoors, but hopefully we'll get to a point where we can film all of these outdoors, so that we can get more experiences like it was last week with those little kids. That was really cool. I think about that quite often, or I've thought about that quite often this week. Such beauty. Anyways, I figure we just get stuck right into it. No matter how strong you are, you cannot do it alone. Is this truth? So in this video, I'll kind of go over how important it is to have community, how important it is to have good people around you, sort of working for something other than yourself, something greater than yourself, I could say, where discipline doesn't really have meaning unless you have direction. I'm also I wrote down notes because I know I like to yap. I'm also going to talk a little bit about spirituality, how faith and belief will help you sustain in your discipline, and how you're just not meant to do life alone, a product I'm building called Journal 41, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully we keep it nice and short and tidy today, and the yap doesn't go on for too long. But yeah, you can't do life alone. That's where we'll start. And your strength does not equal your self-sufficiency is a point that I wrote down. This is true, man. No matter how strong you are, and I've realized this because I've been in this discipline sort of phase for my past 3 years. I started this 3 years ago, where I've sort of started to take more control over myself, prioritize the good things in my life, the sleep. I've been sober for almost 3 years, touch wood, and all of that goes glory to God. Yeah, life is not meant to be done alone. You're meant to have good people around you, people who make you feel stronger, people who push you, especially in the time that we're in at the moment, where we just have so much distraction and hate that surrounds us. There's so much horrible things that go on in the world at this very moment, and if you don't know about it, I'd recommend reading a little bit into it because it is important. This is current affairs. This is what the world is going through. But I wouldn't recommend reading too deep into it or going down a deep rabbit hole about it because it's horrible. It actually hurts me, and if it doesn't hurt you, then that's a little bit strange because these are inhumane things that are happening. Now I'm going to quote the Bible here. This is the only time I'll do it, and if you're completely against religion or whatever, you can skip forward a bit. But I would say take it out of context because it's a beautiful message. And this is written in the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36. And Jesus says, "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul?" Let me read that again. It's so good. "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul?" I think that's incredible. Because it's true, if you focus so much, if you lay so much focus on, conquering and achieving, and, we have idols in our lives, and if your idols fall into the bracket of like David Goggins and Andrew Tate and all of those who do have relatively good points most of the time, I'm not condoning anything that both of them say because they're quite extreme, but they do share a decent message, especially to boys, well, pretty much only to boys. But they share a decent message. But you can see that these people have prioritized their wealth and their success and all of that, and they've maybe grown out in that sense. But if you don't focus on building who you are and building a connection with something greater than yourself, or a spirit, or your soul, or whatever it is, what good is it to have the whole world but you don't have yourself? At the end of the day, this is the only thing that we truly own, is your body. And you don't even truly own your body because you can't decide when you were born, and you can't decide when you die. But this is like the most important thing, the body's a temple, take care of yourself. So I think that that's something that's really important to remember, is that the strength that you have will not carry yourself far enough. You need to have strength in something greater. And I don't know if that point landed super much, but if I take it into a personal context where I've been on this disciplined route for about 3 years now, I've had, I started prioritizing my sleep, I started prioritizing myself, I've been sober for almost 3 years, touch wood. And yeah, I started this whole self-building, discipline, intentional living journey about 3 years ago. And while a lot of it looked good, I was able to build myself up to like a managerial position in the industry I worked in. I was able to sort of take care of my body, I was eating healthy, I was doing everything good. And it looked really good from an outside perspective. Like if you were a connection I had on LinkedIn, I was looking like I was about to conquer the world. But none of it felt good internally. None of it felt like pure. And although I enjoyed the process, it was like a circle that just did not connect at the very last point. And essentially what I wrote down here is, my point is that discipline needs meaning. The reason you live, you need a meaning in life. And it can't, for myself, my meaning can't be in my work. My meaning can't be in, what time I go to bed. My meaning can't be in how I portray myself to others. My meaning has to come from within. It has to come from something greater than myself that has a connection to me. Do you know what I mean? And I look up. It can be whatever. It can be a chair. It can be your bed. It can be a tree. Whatever it is, But I look up because this is how I've connected. So take that with a pinch of salt, because I know as soon as I start talking about God, especially in the Christian sense, a lot of people can pull back a bit. Don't take this with a pinch of salt and look for the similarities rather than the differences, if I can put it that way. A little bit more of an open mind is required to watch the video. Taking it out of a Christian context, there's a guy called Viktor Frankl who wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. He was a prisoner in the concentration camps in the World War II. And he wrote a book called The Man's Search for Meaning, which essentially follows a logotherapist path or philosophy, which is something that he created. And essentially it's about having to find meaning in your life. So he wrote this book when he was in the concentration camps. And he said the number one cause of death was the loss of hope, the loss of belief, the loss of faith. He said that he noticed the last thing to die in a person's body is your hope, or in a person's soul is your hope. And once hope leaves your body, you die. You have no meaning. There's nothing pulling you forward. Everybody needs to live with hope. Now, moving over into this whole sort of searching, because you have to start out by searching for hope. I completely sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? I completely encourage people to explore their spirituality, but also themselves, and explore the world and do lots of cool different things, things that you might find interesting. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But how will you know if you don't try? Do you know what I mean? So I completely condone that, but my topic was searching versus guidance. Now I've been through the whole exploration phase. I studied Hinduism, I studied Buddhism, I was heavily spiritual, I studied sort of sound healing, I was doing all these sound bath things and all of that, which helped me a lot, and I still owe a little bit of my time to that. I still like to fall asleep to the sound of sound baths, and I still like to meditate in that sort of sense. But what I was missing throughout that, again, it felt like the circle that just didn't connect. And what I was missing without that was guidance. See, this was all done through my own will. This was all done through my own being. I wanted to live the spiritual life. I wanted to have some sort of connection. So I would go out and meditate and pray and connect with the nature, which is super important. But there was no guidance through that. There was no real, listen, come to me, pray to me, do the required things, and you will find guidance through that. You will find a rule book on how to live. And that's where Christianity gave me this structure and clarity. And it turned my discipline, or my spiritual discipline, into actual discipline. You know, it turned my... It connected that circle. It gave me that last sort of connection where it was like, okay, well, this is how I can live. This is the guidance that I've been... This is the guidance that I've been needing. This is the missing puzzle piece. Do you know what I mean? And my point being, out of all of this, is that faith or belief, or just having some sort of faith in something. This is what sustains me, and I believe that this is what sustains people. I'm not speaking for you. I can't speak for you. That's a little bit, that's a little bit egotistical. But I do believe that it is something that there is some sort of connection with meaning and living a successful life. Now, when I say a successful life, I mean sort of an outward successful. I don't mean inner. But I do believe that having a faith in life can sustain your sort of goals. Like for me, this past month has probably been my heaviest. I've done the most. I've created the most. I've been the most disciplined in myself. And this is the month where I really stepped into Christianity as a true Christian. Do you know? So this sort of furthers my belief, and I'm only speaking from my own. Oh, it feels like my brain is mud today. I'm only speaking from my own perspective, experience. This is, you guys have to forgive me. Yes, I'm only speaking from my own experience, and I know that everyone walks a different road apart. This is crazy. Everybody walks different walks of life, but I do believe that we all end up in the same place, which is back to the earth. So my main point, I guess, of this whole video is you're not meant to do life alone. Humans need belief and guidance and something higher than themselves. And to come to that point, it took me 3 years, which is why I've created Journal 41. And I'm not trying to plug, but I think that this is truly something that everybody needs to go through. And sure, it takes time, but I want to translate what I've learned, sort of the person I've become, into something that's actually manageable and to tolerate, and not to have to go through the path that I went through to get to the place that I'm at. So Journal 41, I'll explain it. The concept is so 41. The 4 means 4 sides, a square, and 1 means 1 direction. So essentially, Journal 41 brings you back to square one. A round of applause, thank you very much. I know it's super smart, I know it. Thank you. No, so essentially the whole concept is square one. It brings you back to square one. That's Journal 41 for you. Why I made it, I guess it's for the people who feel overwhelmed, who have ambition in life, who just want to sort of take action in their life, because it's so easy to get distracted in the noise that we're in today. So it's for the people who really, are considering, I don't want to be lost in this noise. For the people who've had that quick thought of, I would love to just throw my phone away, travel across the world, and just live super free, which I think everybody kind of wants to do. There's that part in them, so the format, Journal 41 is essentially a 3-day journal. I'm not sure if it'll be digital. It will be released digitally first, but I would love to make it a hard copy, something that people can actually carry around and write down in, because like I said to those people who have done the first version of it, Who Are You? That was another digital journal I made. If you want it, the link is in the description. But Who Are You? That was another journal I made, but I recommended people to write with a pen and paper, because it sits deeper in your head. There's some scientific research behind that. But essentially Journal 41 is a 3-day journal that takes you through 3 different phases. First being the past, the second being the present, and the third being the future. So it takes who you've been, who you are, and who you want to become, and it sort of muddles it up into 3 days where you not only sort of start your new journey in life, or start what you've been wanting to excuse me, I need some water. Excuse me for that. Where was I? It doesn't only send you in a direction, but it actually helps you understand why you're going in that direction, which is really important. Like I said, you need meaning in what you do in order to become who you want to be. And you genuinely can't move forward without understanding who you are. This was a quick video. Essentially, my closing point is just find good people, believe in something greater than yourself, and remember that soul carries you through to success. Prioritizing your soul will give you success regardless, and that's what I've learned myself. And yeah, that's all I had to share for today. That wasn't so much yap. But yeah, I guess it's a short video today. So like and subscribe, and hopefully I've got a vlog format coming for you soon. There's a lot happening in my life at the moment, and I'd like to document it, but you know, it's about finding that balance that I'm trying to find. So yeah, that's me. That's the weekly video. Nice and short. I don't actually know how long it took, but either way, big kisses. And if I can leave you off with one little thing, I'm looking around my room for some inspiration. It'll all be worth it in the end. It'll all be worth it in the end. But you gotta start in order to finish. Much love, you guys.